Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Wilhelm Scream and welcome back to another day in Destiny 2 for some more Destiny 2 news and Beyond Light Season of the Chosen intel. And in this video, we're going to be going over a glitch for the Fallen Saber Strike, which is the Nightfall Ordeal this week. And this week, the Nightfall Ordeal is awarding double loot. So you're going to want to take full advantage of this before the week is out. So as you spawn into the Fallen Saber Strike, you'll make your way to that first ship and you'll find a piece of scaffolding tucked underneath the ship in the beginning section on the water side. Use your Sparrow to fly underneath that, hold left and dismount, and you'll be able to drop out of the map. This is easily done on PC if you cap your frame rate at 30. On consoles, it's a little bit tougher because all the new consoles are 60 frame rate, I think, just by happenstance. On older consoles, it might be a little bit easier because I think they're all capped at 30 frames per second. But if you give it enough time and enough persistence, you'll be able to get out of the map. You'll actually see a D1 dead ghost still sitting there on the left. You can scan it if you want. You won't get anything for it, but it's sort of fun. Make your way towards the end of the water till you'll see a turnback barrier. You can get off your Sparrow or slowly make your way around the edge. You'll dismount your Sparrow, spawn into the next checkpoint. I would use a super, or if you're on a Titan fly, using a sword, and make your way to this section. And you have to go around, or at least very close to, that big taken structure that's sticking out underneath. If you go too far to the right, you'll get the next checkpoint, and though this will still allow you to advance into a certain part of the strike, it will not be a part that you'll be able to continue, as the previous sections will not have been triggered. But once you get here, you can scan the warsat, and though you have to continually jump in the air to actually get it to count down, you can do this fairly easily in several ways. I would, again, if you're on a Titan, that's a good option. If you're on a Warlock, use Heat Rising or your super when it comes back. You can also damage enemies from underneath here. So if you are doing this in a group for maybe 100k, or if you're going for a 1330, if you're trying to do this solo, in any case, you can do or help your friends. Though if you're solo, you probably don't need to do damage, just continue to jump. I have noticed on a very few occasions, one of these enemies might actually somehow make their way down here. I don't know how they got down here. Maybe it was just some sort of proximity spawn. I don't know. But just if you get shot once in, 1 in 100 chance, that's why. Fairly easy though to take out one enemy. So just continue to jump up until this counts down. And if you are doing this in a group, a great thing about this section is not only could you help your friends by throwing grenades or using any sort of thing that does a large burn in a particular zone. So I think Jotun would work, for example, or Telesto. But you could help your friends, or you could make your way into the next section, which is done simply by running down this ramp in front of me, away from the enemies where you see them now. And eventually you'll queue the next zone. I talked about this in my last video, so if you want a little bit more specific on that, though you will see it towards the end of this video, that will allow you to then fly back into the map, and you'll skip a zone, but you'll be able to start on the enemies in that next zone. So if you have two friends that are following up behind you, you'll be able to do this a lot quicker by using that method. And that's great even if you're doing this solo in matchmaking at like 1270, because like I said, this is all fairly easy to do if you're just trying to progress through as fast as possible. If you are solo, you're going to have to make your way back to this rock and then make your way back up onto the right. You'll be able to die at a certain point and you'll spawn back inside the map. Don't be afraid if you get the sort of ultimate death cutscene or screen in front of you like you see me do here, because the warsat will already be completed, so you'll be able to just go back into the map. So though you can actually make your way back around in some cases, you don't need to. Just get to that point, die like this, you'll get the death screen, but then you'll spawn back in the actual map and you'll be able to progress to the next section. That's if you're doing this solo. If you're doing it in a group, I would just suggest progressing into the next section, start finishing off all the enemies you can so that when your teammates do arrive, you can just progress to the boss that much quicker. And in the boss room, there is a very good spot to actually cheese the boss. It's sort of a no damage area, but I'll let the video play out now a little bit. You can see, if you'd like, that other sort of instant glitch. This would allow you, again, to, if you are in a group, just progress all the way to the next section past this room. But if you're in the boss room, if you stand in this particular area, there's two areas actually, both behind the initial pillars. One's right here, and the other one of these pillars. You can actually stand here and the boss will aggro you a bit, but you will not take damage. You can get kicked out of this a little bit, sometimes sent flying, so just be aware of that because you're never really on solid ground, and jumping in there is a little bit difficult. But just keep that in mind. If it's a solo run you're going for, that's just a place to go if you really need to recover quickly. But otherwise, it's a fairly easy spot to just hang out in, and you can still do damage from there if you are using something like a Wither Horde, for example. And in this clip, since we're getting towards the end, I'll show you exactly where you can go to just sort of instantly progress. So some of this clip was, I think, actually recorded on PC rather than a console. And I did find that if you cap your frame rate at 30 frames, it's almost instantly you'll drop through the floor. On a new console, I was using a Xbox Series S. It was significantly more difficult. I know how to do this fairly easily, so I probably had an easier time even on a console than most people would. But I will say, for somebody who's maybe not exactly sure where to go or where to exactly stand to trigger it, it could be a little bit complicated. So I will just say, just continue to try and angle yourself where the camera and the sparrow actually disappear before you dismount. I also find that just getting on and off the sparrow once it's stuck in there sometimes doesn't work as well as when you first actually drive into that section and just immediately try to get off the sparrow, because for some reason I think that sort of cues a few more frames to trigger, and it sort of slows it up. You kind of want as much in front of you and the ground as possible, as far as like your sparrow and all the other pixels that are sort of being generated by the ground around you. But once you would get to that point, as you can see, you could turn right around here and you will trigger the mine checkpoint. And then you just sort of make your way across this plateau. There are a few invisible walls. If you go too far to the left, you'll get one that sort of pushes you even further to the left. If you go to the right, you'll get one that sort of pushes you back to the middle. And that's the one that you want. As you can see, I sort of hit one here. But if I just turn to the left right there, I'm able to make my way down to this area. And then you'll find that there's a tunnel right here. You can sort of drop down into it, move back a little bit, and you'll cue the Bunker War 4 checkpoint. You can then turn around and you're in this section, which is the section right before the actual boss room. So you could start clearing this out, or if you were doing this solo, you could actually, I think, possibly use that though I'm not totally sure how. I do think that if you were to go back outside, progress into that next section, trigger it, and then go back around this way, though that sounds like a lot of work, you could possibly move forward a little bit easier if you're just getting stuck on a room. It's just a way to bypass another room. I don't know if it would really be a viable option for a solo method. I think it's actually best just used for a farm. If you're trying to farm out the shadow price, which is also the unique legendary this week. It's a pretty awesome scout rifle, auto rifle. I had a whole bunch of them, and I think they got deleted in my inventory, my postmaster. I'm actually really disappointed, but I'll go farm a few more using this. Thanks so much for watching all the way till the end of the video. Hopefully everybody found something in this video helpful. I did do a video about this a few days ago, but I was so excited to bring this particular glitch sort of back to the game. I mean, that it was one of my favorites to do in D1, and it being back in D2 is just all the more fun. So thanks so much for watching. Leave a hashtag Season of the Chosen or Beyond Light or Fallen Saber or Shadow Price, hashtag any of those things. Leave them in the comment section down below. And as always, I am Wilhelm Scream. Thanks so much for watching. We will see you in the next video. Little.